Yo, what's going on YouTube and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Today we are recapping the series in the second round of the Eastern Conference Stanley Cup playoffs between the Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers. If you like this content, want to see more of it, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. So, this series went about the way that I expected it to, and I kind of called it. I hate to be the one to say I told you so, but this is kind of how it went. So, my original prediction was that the Florida Panthers would ultimately win this series in, I think I said 7 games. I don't remember if I said 6 or 7, but I think I said 7 games. And I expected Boston to come out early, right? Because we always talk about the layover between the first round and the second round. That was very evident in game 1, right? Because the advantage usually goes for game 1, it usually goes to the team that played the game 7, and usually the team that had the earlier series usually comes out a little flat in game 1. That's exactly what happened in this series, and everyone was like, uh-oh, what's going on with the Panthers? They lost 5-1. Is there a major issue here? It went about the way I expected. It was a good start for the Bruins, though. Give them some props. They were able to score 5 goals on the Panthers. That's not easy to do. Then we get to game 2, and that's where the series just completely flipped. And really the rest of the way, it was low goal scoring after game 3. We'll get there. But that was the most goals we would see in a game for the Boston Bruins was in game 1. Game 2, the Panthers said, yeah, that was cute, 6-1. So 5-1 Bruins in game 1, 6-1 Panthers in game 2. So the Panthers completely flipped the series back on its head, heading back to Boston. And this is where the Panthers really took the series. And the Bruins had to feel good about themselves because they're heading back home. You know, they won game 1. They should win game 3 or 4 at home. That wasn't the case. And like I said, that's really where they lost the series. They lose 6-2 in game 3. So back-to-back games really poor by the Bruins. 6-1 in game 2, 6-2 in game 3. That's being outscored 12-3 in 2 games. Not a recipe for success. And then we get to game 4, much more respectable result. The Panthers still win the game, though. It's a 3-2 win for the Panthers, and the Bruins now find themselves down 3-1. And now you're thinking to yourself, shit, like, here we go. This is not what we wanted to happen. And at this point, if you're a Bruins fan, you're hoping for the best case scenario of, well, listen, the Panthers had us down 3-1, or we were up 3-1 on the Panthers last year, and look how that turned out, right? So you're kind of hoping for the reverse effect, kind of the revenge here this year. So we get to game 5, the Bruins fight back, and they make it a 3-2 series, a really gutsy win. I would say that win was more impressive than game 1, honestly, because this is at this point, it would have been easy for the Panthers to just lay down and take the loss, but they didn't. And they come back, they get a gutsy 2-1 win over the Panthers, and that's the type of game that you need from Jeremy Swayman. Jeremy Swayman stole the show in that game and absolutely kept the Panthers in it, kept the Bruins in it. We'll get to that in a minute here for the Bruins. And then, of course, the Panthers return the favor like they did most of the series. When the Bruins would kind of have some kind of answer or response, the Panthers would fight back with either the same amount of venom or, pretty much the same amount because they kind of flipped the table, winning 2-1 in Game 6. This series kind of, like I said, it went about the way I expected. The Panthers are a really good hockey team, and I just don't think the Bruins match up well against the Florida Panthers. I think it's respectable, looking back, in all honesty, that they even made this 6 games. And this is not a discredit to the Bruins. Honestly, I think it is giving them credit. I think the Panthers are really good this year, and they saw last year. I know it sucks losing to the Panthers back-to-back years, right? The Panthers are kind of chirping and this and that. I get it. But, man, for what was supposed to be a retooling year for the Boston Bruins, they still made it to the second round. They still beat Boston again. Yeah, you didn't win a Stanley Cup. Yeah, you would have liked to have gotten back to the conference final at the very least. But it is what it is. That's hockey, baby. And unfortunately for the Panthers were able to get it done. And for the Bruins, they just weren't. Now, there's a couple of pretty big UFAs coming up for the Panthers, and we'll discuss that in our offseason video for the Bruins. But Jeremy Swayman is a big RFA. They got a bunch of older veterans like JVR, Patty Maroon, Danton Heinen. They got a couple of different players that are going to be up for new contracts. And I'm interested to see what they really do, because I know a lot of Bruins fans, they looked at the pending contracts, and they're like, get rid of everybody but Jeremy Swayman. I don't care about any of those other guys. And the reality is they don't have enough depth on this team, right? Like, they did a very good job considering Pavel, and this is not a discredit to those guys, because you know what I'm going to say here, right? Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle as your number 1 and 2 centers, you're not going to win a lot that way, right? Like, losing Krejci and Bergeron last year really hurt this team badly. But you know what? They fought back. They had an incredible season despite not having those players. They just got to find a number 1 center. And I know they're not around. They're not easy to get. But for the Bruins, that's what they need. And if they could find a way somewhere, somehow to do that, I think they have a real opportunity to move forward and get somewhere. I really like what I've seen from this team. You know, the Florida Panthers are really solid, and I think, unfortunately, the Bruins just met a team at this point in the playoffs that's just, like, legitimately built for a Stanley Cup. And the Bruins aren't, and we kind of saw that through this series. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this series? Like I said, overall, I think it was an incredible series. I'm really interested to see what the Panthers do against the New York Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final. We'll be previewing that series in a little bit. But like I said, I think this series was I think it was a good situation for the Bruins to really see where they're at. And like I said, they're not that far away. It's just somehow finding a guy that's going to be your number 1 center. And like I said, that's not something you just pick up in free agency easily, right? Unless you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. But other than that, it's not easy to do. And the good news is, I think Jim Montgomery, a lot of people have been giving him a hard time if they lost to the Leafs in the first round. Should they fire him? And I'm like, whoa. Like, you have to understand the expectations, right? And like I said, I think a lot of Bruins fans understand that. Like, I think the more dedicated, hardcore Bruin fans understand that this was a retool year, and they're trying to reload. But for some fans, you know, despite what this team has up front, the fact they got this far, a lot of that has to go to Jim Montgomery. He is getting the most out of these players that he can. But like I said, you know, that defense is built to win championships. That goaltending is built to win championships. They just don't have the guns up front. And that's not, like I said, you still have Pasternak, you still have Marchand. But like I said, when you get to this point, you don't get to the conference finals by missing pieces. Like, there are very few weaknesses to your team. And unfortunately, the Bruins' one real chink in the armor, unfortunately, got exposed against a team like the Panthers that is just right there above them. So let me know what you guys think of this series. Let me know down below. Guys, if you like this content, want to see more videos just like this one, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. We also have a Discord, so if you would like to join our Discord, the link to that is in the description down below. We've also got Goal Line Hockey Shop merch. We got that merch for the summer, so if you want to check that out, also down below. And of course, if you would like to donate to the channel, we've got the Super Chat. We've got the, the membership program. If you want to give a monthly subscription to that, that is all perfect ways of helping out the channel. It does mean a lot, guys. You guys have been awesome recently, especially during the playoffs. I really appreciate the support. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time.